But when you're more in the present moment and you change your energy, look, when you start opening your heart, the research that's done on the heart, when you start feeling an elevated emotion, the heart starts beating coherently. When you're frustrated, when you're resentful, when you're impatient, your heart is beating very incoherently. It's like stepping on the gas pedal and stepping on the brake at the same time. The heart's going to run, fight, or hide, and here you are sitting there with a smile on your face, and your body is going through all these chemical reactions. The heart is beating incoherently. When you start practicing moving energy back into your heart, start opening your heart, and it starts beating more coherently, it produces a measurable magnetic field that's up to 3 meters wide. Now, you're emitting a signal. That energy is frequency. And that frequency carries information, which means now that frequency can carry the thought of your health. It can carry the thought of your wealth. It's consistent with it. Suffering is not going to carry the thought of your health. It's not the same frequency. It's a different frequency. It carries the thought of, I'm a victim, or my life's never going to change. That's the energy. So every thought has a frequency. So then, and they add up. They start creating form. So we've measured the energy in the room. We've actually done this. And we've taken 750 people, 1,000 people, and we've had them practice opening their hearts, elevating their energy. And then we have 40 people or 50 people sitting in the front of the room with their eyes closed wearing a heart rate monitor. And we say, okay, send the thought on that loving energy, on that elevated emotion, that their bodies be healed, that their lives be enriched, their dreams come true, that they have mystical moments. And just do it for 10 minutes. And all of those people sitting with their heart rate monitors, the majority of them, their hearts go into heart coherence at the exact same time, at the exact same day, in the exact same meditation. So they're receiving a frequency, and we are bound by an invisible field of energy. And what binds us, connects us, is love. That's what creates connection. Fear, prejudice, anger, hatred, violence, suffering, they create separation. That's when you draw from the field. You're drawing from your vital life force around your body, and you're turning it into chemistry. And the field around your body is shrinking. Now, you feel separate from everyone and everything. And when you feel more like matter and less like energy, you're going to try to force outcomes and try harder and fight for it more and manipulate and cheat or do whatever you compete, do whatever you have to do to get it, right? Because you're matter trying to change matter. When you start elevating your emotional state and you start broadcasting new information into the field, think about this. When there's a vibrational match between your energy and some potential in the quantum field, you don't go anywhere to get it. It starts being drawn to you. You're the magnet to your destiny. So then, the moment you start getting frustrated and impatient, you just disconnected from the energy of your future. Now you're back to the energy of your past. Don't expect anything to change in your life. And if you say to me, well, it was that person or that thing that did it to me, I'd say, oh, you're back to the unconscious program that you're a victim again. Yeah. And so then people start figuring this out. They start doing it. They start doing it because they understand when they're consistent with this energy and they can hold on to it. They don't have to go anywhere to do it. Why would they rush out of the present moment? Because the present moment's bringing it to them. And so it becomes an art. It becomes a skill. It becomes an ability. And they're able to navigate in their life in the uncertainty, in the unpredictable moment, and self-regulate in that moment. That's the key moment where it matters the most. They say, whoa, I'm feeling a little fear. They don't surrender the fear. They say, okay, I've lost it. I've got to stop, and I got to self-regulate. And they get back into that state again. Now, to me, if you get up feeling like your future's already happened, you won't be looking for it. Yeah. You'll feel like you already have it. Why would you look for it, right? So basically, quantum mechanics says this, that your subjective mind has an effect on the objective world at the very, very tiny, tiny level of subatomic particles. So, Einstein and Planck were fooling around with subatomic particles. They were putting energy into electrons, disturbing electrons, and they were expecting those electrons to fall like an apple falling from the tree, just like the Newtonian predictable world, in a very smooth and consistent way. And when they did that, it didn't happen. The electrons were disappearing and reappearing, and it was more like a ball rolling down steps. And they all of a sudden realized that the tiny world of subatomic particles, atoms, don't behave like the very large world, like planets and suns and everything else, and apples falling from trees. So they started looking for the electrons, and as they start to look for them and measure them, they would appear. And so they realized that the observer, that the mind was so commingled at that level of subatomic particles that it was impossible to separate the two. And in fact, every quantum physics experiment, you have to have an observer present, because without the observer being present, it changes the outcome. So Well, I've drank martinis with quantum physicists till sunrise talking about this, and they always say, yeah, the observer effect, Joe, the subatomic world is the only thing that it affects. It doesn't happen for very large things, and I always say the same thing. Maybe we're just poor observers. Maybe we can get better at observation and focus. So the quantum field is an invisible field of energy or frequency, and all frequency carries information that's beyond this space and time. There's no bodies there, there's no people, there's no things, there's no places, there isn't even time. It's one infinite field. They call it the fertile void, the 0 point, where there's nothing physical. But that's where all possibilities exist. And you can't enter it as an identity. You can't enter it as your body. In fact, when we teach people how to connect to that field, we say to them, now it's time to become nobody, no one, no thing, no where, in no time. And that means if you're not your body, but you have no attention on your body, no attention on your identity or the people in your life that you identify with, no attention on the things you own, the objects that you're aware of, no attention on the place you're sitting, the place you work, the place you sleep, your home, and no attention on the familiar past or the predictable future. There's only one thing that you are in that moment. That is awareness, consciousness. And that's the eye of the needle. That is the door to the quantum field, and you can't enter as a somebody. You got to enter as a nobody. So teaching people how to get to this point, that's part of the formula. And that means they have to be able to be there without a face, without a name, without a diet, without their problems, without their disease. They have to be able to dissociate from everything known in their life. We teach people how to do that. So it's actually very simple. Most people narrow their focus on material things, like our eyes naturally do it. Like we narrow our focus on objects. It's called a narrow focus or an object focus. Turns out when you're stressed or the fight or flight nervous system switched on, now you really narrow your focus because you're looking for the danger. You're anticipating the danger. So people get really stuck in a very narrow focus. In fact, when they're under stress, they obsess. They obsess about one thing. They're narrowing their focus, and they can't get beyond that one thought. Well, that's really adaptive if T-Rex is outside the cave, right? And you got to keep your attention and you got to stay aroused in order so you don't get eaten. Well, that becomes a habit. So that kind of what's called convergent focus is very unhealthy for the brain. As you're aroused by those chemicals and you're shifting your attention when you're in that state from one person to one appointment to another problem to another person to another place, every person, every thing, every object, every place has a neurological network in your brain. So as you begin to shift your attention from all these things and the brain is aroused, it's like a lightning storm in the clouds. Your brain is firing those networks very incoherently. And when the brain's incoherent, you're incoherent. So then do the exact opposite. Go from a narrow focus, a convergent focus, to a divergent focus. Open your awareness. Focus on nothing but space. And as you close your eyes and you sense space, you stop analyzing and you stop thinking. So as you're sensing space, you begin to slow your brain waves down. And as they slow down, all of a sudden the autonomic nervous system begins to merge and it comes forward. And it starts to synchronize those circuits that were out of balance. And what syncs in the brain links in the brain. So all of a sudden, the brain starts firing in a more coherent way. And when that happens, we call it getting beyond yourself. You forget about yourself. That is the moment you're entering that field. And you can't enter associated with anything known. You got to enter as an unknown. You have to put more of your attention on it and less of your attention on you. Well, I mean, the higher the vibration, the higher the frequency, the higher the level of awareness or consciousness. And so what we see in our events is the first 2 days is about getting beyond you. Mm-hmm. And what I do is I set up the conditions where I go further than where people normally go. They go to a certain point and then they finish. And I say, nah, we're going to go further. So we take them past that point, and sooner or later they start letting go. So when they start breaking through, they're contributing to the field. Mm-hmm. And we've measured the energy in the room after the first day of most of our events. In fact, the first day of many events, the energy goes up, and then the next day it goes up more. The next day it goes up, and that's available energy for people to heal. That's available energy for people who have a mystical experience. That's available energy for them to create with. So So then it becomes an entraining process. And what we do really well, and our research shows this, is we teach people how to suppress their neocortex, shut the lights out in this mechanism here that's your memory bank of your known identity self. Turn that down. Dial that down, and our research shows that our students can do it very well. Now, once you suppress this melon here, the conscious mind, what do you got left? You got the subconscious mind, you got the autonomic nervous system, and that's the antenna. So when we see people doing this and they start in training, wow, they start having profound mystical experiences. People start having very profound energetic moments, and they're influencing one another. And of course, now you're moving a community of people across. And once you get to that certain state, then it just becomes magic. Everybody just goes. It happens. We were just doing an event in Mallorca last week. I got back on Sunday night. Actually Monday morning, and we had 1,300 people there, and we solicited 1,300 people, and 1,300 people said, I had the most amazing week of my life. That everybody, the entire audience, had some type of personal transformation, personal breakthrough, amazing healing, or mystical moment that changed them for the rest of their lives. And it becomes a frequency that everybody becomes entrained to.
We are continuing with our daily practice of completing the inspiring quote. In the previous video we were looking for 2 words of Joe Dispenza's quote. The quote goes like this: if you become aware of your automatic habits and you are conscious of your unconscious behaviors so you cannot go unconscious again, then the correct answer is, are changing. So if you become aware of your automatic habits and you are conscious of your unconscious behaviors so you cannot go unconscious again, then you're changing. Congratulations to everyone with the correct answer and to everyone who tried but didn't guess. This one wasn't so easy, but since I know you love Joe Dispenza, today's quote is also from Joe Dispenza. We are looking for 2 words. So the quote goes like this: when you are observing the old self, you are no longer. Write your answers in the comments below the video and tell me if you love this video and our new way of ending the videos. If you like this video, give your thumbs up and share it with your friends. Even if you're not sure what the right answer is, try and guess. The first one with the correct answer is the winner. So don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button and don't miss any of new videos and new challenges. If you found this video helpful, share it with your friends and comment it. Help me make it more popular. If you really like what we do here and want to support us, you can join our channel and our community for a symbolic fee and gain many other additional features. You can do that by clicking the join button next to the subscribe button, or you can click on the link in the description of this video. Stay good and have a great day!